let me start off by saying that this one's difficult for me to answer. How to make it as a painter? When I think about this question, my mind goes to many different places. There's your art, and then there's business. My name is Railis Vasquez, and today I want to share my opinion and experience with becoming successful as a painter. I'll just say this. I have a very unromantic point of view on what it takes to become a successful painter. Success in most areas of life requires discipline, and being a successful artist, or painter more specifically, is really no different. First, it's important to identify what success looks like. Are you selling your own work? Are you doing commissions? Are you selling one-offs like individual paintings? Or are you selling prints? Who is your buyer? How much are they spending? What does success look like to you? Is it a number in profit? If so, what's your business model? Let's say your goal is to reach, let's say $100,000 from your art specifically. How do you see yourself getting there? You can reach it by selling 10 works at $10,000 each, or 1,000 prints at $100 each to a broader audience. Are you selling to the rich? Are you selling to everyday people? How will you get your work in front of your buyer's eyes? Is success to you being able to live off of your work? There's a lot of different things to consider when it comes to this idea of success or making it as a painter. And you may be overwhelmed with all of those questions, and that's perfectly normal. I'd be overwhelmed too if I was receiving them all at once. But the reason that I'm asking these questions is not so that you have an answer specifically. It's to get you thinking about what your goal is and how you might get to it. Often we don't create a target so that we don't realize when we don't hit it. We know that if we decide that our goal is, let's say, to make a painting every week, if the week passes and we haven't made a painting, then we have, by definition, failed our goal, and that's painful to realize. I've learned that goals must be converted to tasks with deadlines. For example, your goal might be, I want to create a body of work. Your task might be, I will make 10 paintings about X subject, which will be finished in 4 months. Every day, I will paint for at least 3 hours from 6 to 9 p.m. on weekdays, and on weekends, I'll paint for 6 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. See, now that's a task which is clearly defined, and that will take a lot of discipline and sacrifice every single day in order to be able to accomplish that main goal, which is to create that body of work. The reason I think it's important to think like this is because time is a very tricky thing. I was amazed when I first discovered what time truly was. Time will pass no matter what. 4 months will pass like it's nothing. So you might as well make the best use of your time. And if being a successful artist or a successful painter is important to you, then that must be reflected in your schedule. Show me your schedule and I'll show you what you value. You can't say my health is important and yet you don't eat well and don't exercise. You can't say spending time with my family is important to me and you never make time to see them. Your schedule must reflect what you say is important to you. So this is about daily habits on the business end of things and for your artistic practice in your studio. I recommend reading the books The Creative Habit by Twyla Tharp and Show Your Work and Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. These books will be good to start thinking about how to make it as an artist. Now, let me tell you about my journey as an artist. I started drawing when I was about 8 years old and continued through high school. I wasn't thinking about doing art professionally at the time. I was developing my skills, and eventually I got them to the point where I began doing commissions for people. From students and teachers to family and friends, I was being asked to draw and paint things for them, and at the time I was excited to do them. This experience validated my skills and made me confident in both my ability to draw and paint, and my ability to make money with my art, with the skill that I had spent so long developing. At that time, I had friends whose boyfriends or girlfriends' birthdays were coming up, so they wanted me to create a portrait of them to give to them as a gift. On other occasions, I was asked to do tattoo designs and portraits for Mother's Days or Valentine's Day. This was my experience during high school and early college. Afterwards, I transferred to my 4-year degree and decided to study art. By making this decision, I also decided to give my all to do what it takes to make it as an artist. Right before this time, I discovered the existence of an art world and that there were artists out there making their own work and showing them in different types of exhibitions. These exhibitions usually took place in galleries, art fairs, and sometimes cultural centers. Sometimes, and for some artists, often, the artist would make a sale and get paid. This is a path that I felt I wanted to give a try because I felt that I had something that I wanted to say within my work. I worked for about a year or two and created a body of work that I was proud of. And at this point, I knew I was going to try to exhibit the work and put them in front of viewers. So what did I do? I committed myself to applying to 5 opportunities per day. And these were open call for artists, and sometimes I would look up different journals, different publishers and magazines, and send them emails with images of my work and kind of introducing myself, because I felt that, maybe something would come from getting my work in front of other people, even if it was just through email. So, 5 a day, we can do the math. 5 a day is 35 a week and 140 a month. I figured at least one of them had to say yes if I applied to 100, and 2 or 3 said yes, and boom, I was having my first exhibition of this new body of work. At this time, most of the works weren't selling, but that's not really what I was focused on. I was just excited for the opportunity to exhibit my work. So this is a question that I want you to ask yourself. What can you do to give yourself the best opportunity possible? When it comes to making it, it's important that we push ourselves in our art practice and developing our paintings. But we can't stop there, because we also need to focus on the aspect of business. This could be through finding ways to get your art in front of people, whether it's through applying to call for artists or through posting consistently on social media. You gotta allow people to see what you're doing in your studio if you want to make it as an artist. Like I mentioned, social media is an important tool, especially Instagram, because it's a great way for you to get your work in front of people for free if you want to make it as an artist. Back during the time where I was applying to all these opportunities every day, I would post on IG, and that allowed me to start to create a following of both people who already knew my work and people who were just starting to discover my work. I followed Gary Vee's advice: document, don't create. I was documenting my painting process and inspirations. So if you want to put some of this into practice, I would recommend thinking of yourself as a producer of content and less of a consumer. Another social media strategy that I implemented at the time, and this was 7 years ago, is that I would reach out to people who already had large followings, and I would offer to draw them if they agreed to post the drawings on their feed. And most of them didn't respond. Some of them said yes, and when I drew them, they didn't even post the drawings, which was okay. And some said yes and did post them. And throughout this time, I had an unfortunate realization, which is just what it is. Something that I learned along the way is that when you are in business or pursuing business, most of what you do is for free. When it comes to making it as an artist, know that it takes time, so don't be discouraged, and be patient with yourself on both the art making process and the business side of things. So there you have it. This was my approach to making it as an artist. I will go more into detail in the future on specifics, but I think I've left you with quite a bit to think about. I'd love to know your thoughts on the matter, and if you are doing any of these things, or have been encouraged to start now. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's it for me today. Until next time, adios.